Well, hello, and welcome to yet another video in our series of daily encouragements from the book of Proverbs. Only going to do a couple more of these because we're almost into the new year. I don't know about you, but I'm super excited. A lot going on. One of my children has a birthday at the end of the year, and so we actually had the opportunity to at least we will have the opportunity to take him out and be able to spend time with him and enjoy that fellowship. But one of the things I want to do is provide you a verse of encouragement for today. It's incredible to think we're just, at least I'm just a couple days away from a new year and new excitement. But what I want to do today is kind of continue on with just providing you a verse of encouragement, a verse of direction and guidance that'll hopefully just, help you have a better day today than what you had yesterday. Verse for today, being that it's the 29th day of the year, or 29th day of the month, is Proverbs 29, and it's going to be verse number 25. Now it says, "The fear of man bringeth a snare, but whoso putteth his trust in the Lord shall be safe." Now I'm not looking at the word etymology to tell you which original words were used and things like that, but I want us to look at this as two parts because there's two parts to it. So part one says, "The fear of man bringeth a snare." A snare, it's kind of a trap. It's preventing you. The term that, or the way I had it told to me, a snare, it's like a trap that's set out to catch, typically catch an animal, catch wildlife. Or if you think of sometimes we'll say a snag and like a wire. I've seen videos online where an animal will get caught in some kind of netting, be it a fish or a land animal maybe that happens to make it onto somebody's property and gets caught in like a fencing or a net there. That's that trap. It's that slowing you down. It's preventing you from either getting away or preventing you from being about what it is that you're trying to do. Well, here it says, "The fear of man bringeth a snare." Now, when you see that there, you want to make sure you understand what it's saying is in comparison to doing what you should be doing for God. Why is it that there are Christians that don't always do what their Bible tells them they should be doing? It's a fear of man. What is that person going to think of me? What will my friend think of me? What will my family think of me? As a college student or as a high school student getting ready to come to college, I decided to go to a Christian university, and there were concerns. I was like, what are people going to think about me going to a Bible school and changing up the way I would do things? When I went to high school, a t-shirt and sweatpants or a sweater and sweatpants would be a common occurrence. But then the rules at the school I was going to, they were going to expect polo shirts and button-up shirts and ties and tie and jackets and these would be every day or the meals and stuff, and then there would be required church attendance. And I mean, can I make a change like that? What would my friends up here think of me? Like, oh man, you're going to be one of those people. Well, you know what? It brings you a snare. See, if you're trying to live the life of a Christian, those things shouldn't distract you, shouldn't prevent you from trying to do what's right, from trying to do the things that God would want you to do. But that happens. There are people that they fear those things, and it prevents them from doing what God would want for them to do. The fear of man bringeth a snare. Now, in reality, most of the time, what is that consequence going to be? Might it be a little bit of ridicule? Possibly. Might it be a little bit of laughter or mockery? Possibly. what I found was there was respect that I didn't throw it in people's faces. I didn't make myself better than somebody else. I said, this is what I feel led to do. This is the life I felt led to lead. And then I went forward with that life. Again, this isn't a I'm better than anybody, because it was never that. It was I want to be better, but I feel like there's a specific call. When I first came down for schooling, and by the way, the reason I said came down is because I was living up in the Northeast and then I went to school in Florida. So obviously coming south. There was a lot that made me wonder, but it says, the fear of man bringeth a snare. And it came to a point where if I had to do it again, if I had to go back and do it again, I would do it again. But it says here, but whoso putteth his trust in the Lord shall be safe. Now, the way I look at this verse here, and I want it understood, there's a couple things that this is speaking towards, or at least a couple things you can apply it to. When it comes to the way I live my life, ultimately, if I put my trust in God, I put my trust that He did die for my sins, rose again, conquered death, made a home for me in heaven, offered me a gift, and I accept that gift. That's putting my trust in Him. I'll be safe for eternity. I'll have a home in heaven. But even if you make it a more practical piece of living, when it says, whoso putteth his trust in the Lord shall be safe. I'm going to give you an example. Back shortly, I want to say it was around 2004, 2005, I accepted a role to be an assistant to a pastor that I was actually serving here in town, in Pensacola. And I was serving as his assistant. And one of the coolest things I thought, at least one was it was a good opportunity to learn under a faithful man of God. But the second thing was, it was sometimes more powerful to be number two than it was to be number one, because I always had someone else to point to. See, someone could get mad at me and I could be like, look, this wasn't my choice. This was his choice. Now, I would never throw him under the bus like that, but I had that authority. I was only doing what the leader wanted me to do. Later on, when I worked as an assistant manager in a grocery store, I remember there were times where we thought, as an overnight stock crew, that we were done. We put out new product, we cleaned up the leftovers, made the store look nice, even ordered the next delivery of product to be brought in, and had everything ready. And the store director would come in and he'd walk and he'd find little things. Okay, we fix those as we go along. But then he'd say, hey, what about this here? Let's change this and do this. And it'd add an extra 20, 30 minutes, even with the guy. Because what I would do is I would feel like, okay, everything looks good. I would send a couple of the guys home, so we had a smaller amount of people left in the morning. And then all of a sudden, it was like, hey, I need you to do this, this, and this. And it would add an extra 30 minutes. And so I'd go get the guys together. I'd be like, hey, guys, this is what we have to do before we leave. And I know they would be like, oh, come on, you said we were done. I said, we were done. This was not part of the original plan. Ultimately, I know those guys were frustrated at me. And I said, hey, look, I got to stay here too. And then there were times where I may not have even finished that new order, and now I'm going to have to stay longer after I get, because I always tried to make sure to get the other guys out before I got my stuff completed. So I wanted to get them out. They did their job, and all I had to do was just do a quick order. But it was always like, hey guys, I know it's frustrating, but this is what the boss wants. When I look at this and it says, whoso putteth his trust in the Lord shall be safe. When it comes to how I live life, if God tells me to do this action, what do I worry about the fear of man? God's going to take care of me. He's going to protect me. Even in the end, if the end result is something painful, even up to death. You think of missionaries that go to foreign countries places that are unreached, and they're trying to reach those lands. And you've heard stories probably of these people that gave their lives. God did protect them. You may say, how did he keep them safe? He brought them home with him, and he gave them a greater joy in heaven than they'll ever be on this earth. It may sound crazy, but the Christian can hold to that. The Christian that's accepted him as their Savior can hold to the fact that he will keep them safe when they put their trust in him. That's my challenge for you today. Don't let what men say, what women say, what people say, disturb your faith. Let Jesus be true and all men liars. Anyway, it's my challenge for today. Hope you have a great rest of your day. And until the next time, take care.